and welcome to Wednesday's ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley. A grandmother dies, other family members are injured, 3 critical in a house fire in Reading. Relatives and friends ask for prayers.
They are very nice people, they're so kind in the community, but we don't know what happened last night.
Thames Valley's new Chief Constable says bad officers will be ousted. Jason Hogg also promises more officers on the street as he works to restore public trust.
Also on the programme, the campaign to put the wind back in the sails of Nutley Mill, restoring it to its former glory.
And spectacular views and plenty of fresh air, but you'll need a real head for heights in this job, dangling on a rope 100 feet above the sea. Good evening. A grandmother has been killed and 5 other family members injured in a house fire in the early hours of this morning in Reading. 3 people are in a critical condition.
Crews were called to Early Road near the Royal Berkshire Hospital shortly after 1:30 this morning. 3 children and 2 adults were taken to hospital, but a woman in her 60s died of her injuries.
The family are well respected in the local Pakistani community. Wesley Smith is live on Early Road for us this evening. And Wesley, grief for the loss of the grandmother, and the family told you they're asking for prayers tonight.
Yes, Sangeeta, this tragedy has stopped everyone in their tracks in this part of Reading. Indeed, as the Sun said to us in his statement tonight, it's a particularly bitter blow because this happened during the holy month of Ramadan. The daughter of the woman who died is herself a mother and is in a critical condition in hospital tonight. As you say, 4 generations of the same family lived in this house. They'd been residents of Early Road for more than 40 years. 10 people were asleep inside when the fire broke out. So emergency services raced to the scene from across Berkshire. And as their investigations continue tonight, the community has been doing what it can to offer some comfort to those involved.
Nothing could have prepared the family for the tragedy that would unfold in the early hours of this morning. Our beloved grandmother lost. Other family members with serious injuries. Trauma for the children in the building, one of whom we understand has been taken to the John Radcliffe Hospital up in Oxford. Friends and neighbours left floral tributes, all too conscious that the fire is an especially hard blow coming in the holy month of Ramadan. The local imam spoke of the shock everyone is feeling.
I'm so sad because we know them from a long time, and he has so nice, so kind people in the community, but we don't know what happened last night.
In a statement, the family son said, "We're requesting prayers for the family. This was a deeply tragic accident that happened in the holy month." She was very well known and respected across our community. She educated hundreds of people in the town. Specialist forensic officers have been drafted in from the West Midlands to support Berkshire fire officers as they try to piece together how the fire started. As yet, there are no suspicious circumstances. Neighbours were woken up and alerted to the rescue operation.
The police came and knocked on the door about 3:30 this morning, told us to evacuate the building. There was a serious fire and it was a chance of spreading.
This is a busy and thriving cosmopolitan community in Reading. Everyone dropping into this local cafe saying how shocked and saddened they are by what's happened.
Apparently there was some people who didn't make it, so really, really tragic. I really find it difficult to describe the situation. I would never want to be in a situation like this. I feel really, really sorry for the family and everyone affected.
Crews were drafted in from as far as Windsor and Ascot. 8 ambulance crews and the air ambulance also came to the rescue. The investigations will continue, but tonight is just the start for a grieving family caring for injured relatives as they also try to adjust to life without a beloved grandmother.
Wesley, we understand ongoing support is being offered to local people there.
It is. Thames Valley Police are holding what they call a Have Your Say meeting for the local community at the Mosque on Alexandra Road, just around the corner from here. That's at 20 to 8 this evening to offer support and reassurance during this difficult time. Community support officers have been keeping a watchful eye as flowers have been laid here at the scene all day long. Their number will continue to grow, no doubt, as this community witnesses a family tragedy at first hand and offers what help it can.
Wesley, live in Reading, thank you.
In his first days in the job, the new Chief Constable of Thames Valley Police is promising more officers on the streets and to restore public trust in policing. Jason Hogg says bad officers will be ousted.
With a recent rise in reports of violence, sexual offences and hate crime in the Thames Valley, he also says he is looking to increase the use of controversial stop and search powers. Charlotte Edney has been to meet him.
Striding into the job, new Chief Constable Jason Hogg says he's ready for the challenge. He joined policing 27 years ago after studying at Oxford University and spent the last 7 here in the Thames Valley.
When I was a student here in Oxford, I volunteered at a charity called the Gatehouse, which is a homeless charity. And I remember having a conversation with a police officer one day from Thames Valley, and I can't remember what we talked about, but I remembered how he made me feel, and I felt excited, inspired to join the police, with having no background in my family at all.
The incoming Chief Constable has a vision, 180 new frontline officers to help improve response time and get more police onto the streets.
So one of my key priorities is to reinvigorate and energise our approach to neighbourhood policing. If there's one thing people tell me when I'm out and about on the streets, is that they don't see enough police officers. And there is a direct correlation between visibility and trust and confidence in our local communities.
Indeed, it is a tough moment. The kidnap, rape and murder of Sarah Everard by serving Met Officer Wayne Cousins. The life sentence handed to Met Officer David Carrick for 48 counts of rape. And the Casey report, which found the Metropolitan Police to be institutionally racist, sexist and homophobic. The headlines about the capital's police force have shocked the nation, and the ripples are being felt at neighbouring forces. At a time when trust in policing has been hit hard, there really is no room for complacency. The new police chief will have to hit the ground running and take decisive action that shows Thames Valley Police doesn't harbour dangerous officers or a toxic culture. And the new boss is pledging just that.
We're on a journey with this, and we definitely need to get better, but I'm confident that people who are women from our black communities come and work in us, they won't find a sexist, racist organisation to work in. And of course there will be cases where people don't meet the standards we would expect. And in the coming weeks and months you will see more misconduct cases and some officers charged and going to court for offences. There will be more cases coming to court shortly.
On the streets of the Thames Valley, knife crime continues to be a problem. In February, vehicles were attacked by machete-wielding criminals in Reading. The new Chief Constable says he'll increase the use of stop and search. It could be controversial, as black people are twice as likely to be stopped.
I want us to use stop and search much more than we are at the moment, and I think officers are not as confident as I want them to be in using those powers. We do have some disproportionality, as you say. That disproportionality is far lower than many forces across the UK.
Much to do at a complex time to take on the top job of the largest non-metropolitan force in the country. Charlotte Edney, ITV News, Kidlington.
More people who lost loved ones to the contaminated blood scandal should be entitled to compensation, according to the chairman of the Infected Blood Inquiry. Thousands of people were infected with HIV and hepatitis by contaminated blood transfusions between 1970 and 1991. Hundreds of patients were treated at the Oxford Haemophilia Centre in the Churchill Hospital during those years, and it became the largest haemophilia centre in the country. Last year, the inquiry recommended that victims should receive £100,000 in compensation. Chairman of the inquiry, Sir Brian Langstaff, says some family members, including parents who lost children and orphan children, remain unrecognised. Jason Evans from Oxford was 4 years old when his father Jonathan died in 1993. He'd contracted both HIV and hepatitis C.
The biggest thing for me personally is the recognition that they were infected and they died because they were infected, and that it was the fault of those who were in the decision-making chairs at the hands of the state. That's the biggest thing, the feeling of recognition that they were impacted by this.
Well, in response, the government says it is continuing to prepare a response to the final report when it's published in the autumn.
A man from Oxford has been jailed for 16 years for sexually abusing a child. 38-year-old Kieran Whiting was found guilty of 10 counts, including sexual assault and taking indecent photographs of a child between 2016 and 2020.
14 new electric vehicles can be hired in Oxfordshire in a car-sharing pilot scheme. The pay-per-use electric cars will be available on an hourly basis and trialled for a year. They can be hired from 14 locations, including Bicester, Banbury, Thames, Abingdon and the Redbridge Park and Ride.
You're watching ITV News Meridian here in the Thames Valley. Thank you for watching us. Still to come. The traditional windmill missing its sails and the volunteers working to restore it to its original glory. And the team of abseilers scaling new heights to tackle these crumbling cliffs. Remember, for more news, go to our website itv.com/Meridian. You can call us and you can follow us on social media. Now, the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30. With the details for us this evening, here's Lucrezia Millerini.
Coming up, Nicola Sturgeon's husband is arrested as part of a probe into the SNP's finances. Peter Murrell was arrested at home this morning, barely a week after the SNP elected its new leader. After last weekend's queues at the Port of Dover, what are the government's plans to ease travel chaos this Easter weekend? Queen Camilla, a new title for the King's wife at his coronation. And why puffin numbers are soaring on a Welsh island. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30. Now, we all know the benefits that getting out and about in nature can have on our happiness and well-being. But there's a new project that looks at what kind of trees in woodland have the biggest impact.
Well, more volunteers are needed to take part in the research that will be used to design the forests of the future. With more, here's Amrit Birdie.
Come rain or shine, popular walking spots like Nutley Abbey in Hampshire see thousands of visitors every year, itching to get out into the great outdoors. But imagine if the trees around you were designed to make your visit even more beneficial for your mood and well-being. Well, that's exactly what a new project called TreeFest has set out to do.
The link between getting out in nature and our mental health is well known about. But now researchers want to take it one step further and look into exactly what types of woodland and nature surroundings can most impact our well-being.
Dr. Heather Gilbert is helping with the research and says it has the potential to shape UK forests for generations to come.
We've got a lot of targets in this country at the moment for tree planting and habitat restoration, and we want to make sure that we are both benefiting wildlife and people while we're doing that, so that we've got all these multiple benefits. In order to make sure we're maximising those benefits, we need to know what types of woodlands do people prefer to walk in? How does it make them feel? And so that's what this research is really about. So it's going to be informing future designs of woodlands.
The project requires volunteers to download an app, which will take them on 8 specially selected walks. How the participants are feeling before and after walking in different types of surroundings will be logged and analysed.
We need to get as many people as possible downloading the Go Jauntly app and walking some of these TreeFest routes. So we're hoping that the impact of the research will be quite significant. So together with some other research happening as part of the UK Treescapes, we'll be able to understand the knowledge and the value that treescapes, woodlands, forests provide humans.
Participants are still needed, and those working on TreeFest say the research could even shed more light on the mysterious and historic link between humans and nature. Amrit Birdie, ITV News.
Well, talking of historic, a rare windmill in Sussex is being restored after it was badly damaged a few months ago.
Nutley Mill near Uckfield dominates the skyline in the Ashdown Forest, but the beams holding the cells together have collapsed.
Well, now campaigners are trying to raise thousands of pounds to get it back into action. With more, here's Tom Savides.
This traditional windmill can be seen far and wide across Ashdown Forest in Sussex. But look closely, something is missing. Its sails are no longer in place. They came tumbling down just before Christmas when a beam cracked, then collapsed.
It's an attraction on the forest here, brings a lot of visitors in, and we're very keen to keep it working as an example of early technology. School children come and learn a lot from it. Local people photograph it, paint it, draw it.
This is Nutley Mill near Uckfield in better days. Now a number of volunteers are working to restore it to its original glory, but it comes at a cost. Around £15,000 is needed to get the mill up and running again. So a crowdfunder has been set up.
It's a listed building, Grade 2 style listed, so we've got to use original materials to the limits of what we can do and what we can afford and what we're capable of doing.
This is just one of 5 open trestle post mills in the country. This particular one in the Ashdown Forest has been on this site for 200 years, but parts of it date back half a century. A rare and historic windmill which dominates this landscape is aiming to take pride of place once again. Tom Savides, ITV News, Nutley.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Hampshire's players say they're ready. Last season they finished 3rd in the county championship and were the top 9 games out of the winning, and they feel they could do even better this time.
Really looking forward to it. We've worked really hard so far in the winter. We've been really close with our 4-day cricket for the last 2 seasons, so looking forward to it and hoping we can get the win this time.
Well, hopefully we can, win the championship. It's been a goal of ours, obviously, a realistic goal for the last couple of years, and we've come up just short. So, we've got the same squad together. If we can produce some similar cricket and add a 5 or 10% in a few areas to get a little bit better. Certainly this year, big aspirations for what we can go out there and achieve.
In the modern era, we've had some success across the white ball formats, but we haven't actually got over the line in the championship. We've got very close the last couple of years. And there's a real motivation in the changing room to actually put that right and win the title 50 years on from when we last won it.
Hampshire host Nottinghamshire, Sussex welcome Durham, and that's a happy chappy.
Absolutely. Andrew, for now, thank you. Now, it's not a job for the faint-hearted. Imagine dangling from a rope on a sheer cliff 100 feet above the sea. Well, that's what a team of specialist abseilers are doing in Sussex.
And Malcolm Shaw will tell you why.
If you're scared of heights, you might want to look away now. On a cliff face between Brighton and Saltdean, a specialist team are hard at work, dangling in mid-air. They're removing loose chalk and flint, which might otherwise fall without warning and smash onto the walkway far below. Each descent takes up to an hour and involves abseiling 30 metres, 100 feet, from the top to the bottom.
So the tools that they're using are hammers, picks and small crowbars. So it is essentially, once they rig up the top and they come on the descent, they'll just go down and with their hands, with the tools, just loosely and lightly knock off any loose material, and then stuff that is not tied in will fall off, and then any more secure stuff will remain on.
Coastal erosion is a natural process, especially for chalk, but its frequency and scale are thought to be increasing as our climate changes. Sometimes huge sections collapse, as happened between Cookmere Haven and Burling Gap last month. Nearer Brighton, the cliffs began crumbling badly earlier in the year. In the middle of January, local residents said that the cliff erosion was the worst that they'd seen in decades. They spoke of rocks raining down on the Undercliff Walk. This is something of a seaside treat for the rope access team. They're more often found carrying out maintenance on bridges and monuments in London. But the air here is bracing and the views are enough to take your breath away.
For normal people like you and I, we might look up and see it quite daunting or scary, but they've got the qualifications, the knowledge, the skills, experience to carry out works like this, and they do other professional work similar using rope access all across the country, so they're well equipped and well prepared.
Altogether, 5 kilometres of cliffs are being worked on. The project is about halfway through and some sections have now been reopened to the public. The work will soon be suspended until the autumn to allow birds like this fulmar to nest on the chalk face undisturbed. but the team will return here in September and prepare to scale new heights. Malcolm Shaw, ITV News, Saltdean.
It's a pretty workplace, but you don't fancy it?
No.
No?
Way too high for me.
OK, well, let's just do this because we're good at this. Yes. Weather time now, I think. Here's James Wright.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hi there, good evening. It's going to be a bit of a damp few hours as we see a couple of fronts move through, but once they do, things set a little finer as we head towards the Easter weekend. In fact, it's going to be a Good Friday, and indeed Saturday and Sunday looking pretty nice too. Now, as far as this evening goes, got a couple of fronts trundling their way past. They're going to bring us one or two slightly heavier bursts, eventually clearing by the end of the night. We're left with quite a legacy of quite low cloud. It's why it's showing up as a mixture of mist and fog, but then we'll start to see something a bit clearer pushing into Dorset later on. Temperature wise, looking at lows of 7 or 8 Celsius, and then tomorrow plenty of sunny spells developing, but with those sunny spells come quite a few showers, 1 or 2 sharp ones. If there is good news, none of them should last too long. Quite a noticeable breeze tomorrow. That though takes the edge off the feel of the temperatures, which are doing quite well at 13 to 15 Celsius. Like I say, a few showers still to clear through Thursday, but into Good Friday things drying out, high pressure building, and as a result, temperatures with a bit of spring sunshine getting up to 15 and 16 Celsius, warmer still on Saturday.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
And that is it from us for this evening. In a moment, the ITV Evening News with Lucrezia Millerini.
We'll be back with your late update. For now, though, from all the team here, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Back to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.